Doesn't it get confusing where you've got like you're using on your phone touch screen and you use your laptop and you press buttons and they don't work? That's what I've been trying to do to switch off the video. Yeah. I've got my book again. I'm going to do the next part of it. Excitement, or not. Yeah, I didn't really, I cried yesterday. Oh my God. And I didn't realise it's going to be therapy for me doing this. This is what it's going to be, my therapy. Me expressing myself because I wasn't able to in my childhood. So there you go. It's all good stuff. The rest of that chapter, it sounded really exciting. Like the title was, the rest of that chapter, the next title was "The Truth That Is Within You." But it's just all theoretical, talking about what he's going to do in the rest of the book. So there's nothing interesting there. So, cutting all that out, I've got to the next bit, which is the meat of the matter, as it were. Page 12, if anyone has got the book themselves. And, excuse me, what did I say? I went out for my 5-minute walk this morning, and I ended up doing 15 minutes. I started jogging, and I felt really bouncy, like Tigger. It was great. I was like, like a horse runs along with their knees going up high, sort of thing. Well, I was kind of doing that because I just felt so bouncy. It was great. And I've got perfect sort of hill slopes around here. And I can just run down them. And they've got sun on one side and then kind of gently run up them and stuff like that. So that felt fantastic. So I haven't felt like that for a while. So, yeah, that was my 5-minute walk turned into that. So, really good. Right, to the book. Okay, this is the first bit that's really useful, I feel. So this is questions and answers now throughout the rest of the book. So people say, asking, yeah, but what about this, what about that? And he answers, okay. Oh yeah, and after I cried yesterday, I was really relaxed and feeling. And as I was preparing, like reading this section that I was going to read, I thought, how can I get into that state again? And anyway, it crossed through my mind. Oh yeah, but I wasn't able to do it. So hence I'm tense and feeling like I can't breathe and stuff again. But hey. If I work that one out, how to do that before I start, then I'll let you know. I couldn't stand the bloody horrible backdrop I've got, so I've got these flowers, and the only place I can put it is actually on the laptop. So that's my effort to make it slightly different and slightly improved. Okay. So the question is, what is the greatest obstacle to experiencing this reality? The bliss state and the being in the present moment. Eckhart says, identification with your mind, which causes thought to become compulsive. So identification with your mind, which causes thought to become compulsive. Not to be able to stop thinking is a dreadful affliction, but we don't realise this because almost everybody is suffering from it, so it's considered normal. God, my throat's all weird as well this morning. This incessant mental noise prevents you from finding that realm of inner stillness that is inseparable from being. It also creates a false mind-made self that casts a shadow of fear and suffering. We will look at all that in more detail later. What I can do is calm down. There's I feel time pressure, I wanted to look up how to say, like, this next line's got Descartes, this famous philosopher. Descartes. Maybe I'll put the book up against the screen. You're going to see it. No idea if you can see that. Hopefully I'm going to edit this and cut some out. The philosopher Descartes, whatever he's called, Descartes, I don't know how you say it, believed that he found, and I feel rushed, I've got to get on with other things, anyway. Believed that he found the most fundamental truth when he made the famous statement, "I think, therefore I am," which is so wrong. It's not about thinking. And people who study philosophy, I really haven't liked them. They tend to be really rigid in their thoughts, not open to learning. And my dad's a bit of a philosopher, like a brick wall, so I get triggered by people who are philosophers. They've got an idea, this is the way it is, and that's it, kind of thing. I haven't liked those people. Oh, anyway, he goes on to say, he had in fact given expression to the most basic error to equate thinking with being and identity with thinking. Because it's consciousness is I am. It's not I think, therefore I am. That's just part of the whole being, isn't it? Part of the whole consciousness thing, existence thing. He had, in fact, the compulsive thinker, which means almost everyone, that makes me laugh, lives in a state of apparent separateness in an insanely complex world of continuous problems and conflict, a world that reflects the ever-increasing fragmentation of the mind. It's really depressing when you think about, trying to solve all the world problems and all your problems in your personal life and all people you care about, you want to solve their problems as well. And you just can't, So, your mind's constantly thinking. And so this is why I want to read this stuff, because we're not meant to be doing that. We're meant to be enjoying and realising we create, and the stuff around us is actually a reflection of us, our internal state and stuff. So, this give people hope. It's not, you don't do everything through logic and through your mind, kind of thing. Okay, moving on. Enlightenment, on the other hand, is a state of wholeness, of being at one, in quotes, and therefore at peace. At one with life in its manifested aspect, the world, as well as with your deepest self and life unmanifested, at one with being. Enlightenment is not only the end of suffering and of continuous conflict within and without, but also the end of the dreadful enslavement to incessant thinking. What an incredible liberation this is! Exclamation mark. See, I'm not making it up. I don't know why you think. Where is it? I think then. There at the bottom. Nothing. Yeah. Identification with your mind creates an opaque screen of concepts, labels, images, words, judgments, and definitions that block all true relationship. It comes between you and yourself, between you and your fellow man and woman, between you and nature, between you and God. It is this screen. Why am I talking like this? Yesterday I was reading like this, wasn't I? Looking at this. It's because I've got the flowers there. I think, oh look, I've bloody knocked them out of the way. On my best effort. It is the screen of thought that creates the illusion of separateness, the illusion that there is you and a totally separate other. You then forget the essential fact that underneath a level of physical appearances and separate forms, you are one with all that is. By forget, I mean that you can no longer feel this oneness as self-evident reality. You may believe it to be true, but you no longer know it to be true. A belief may be comforting. Only through your own experience, however, does it become liberating. My usual state of not being able to breathe today. Anyway, better get on with this. Thinking has become a disease. Disease happens when things get out of balance. Yeah, so the fact that I cried yesterday and I felt better and relaxed after I cried means I'm feeling something. I'm not feeling something. I'm pushing down feelings. Yeah, that's right. Because I feel like I can't breathe. And I don't want to struggle to breathe in front of you. So that's one of my things. I've always had that. But for the longest time, I feel so humiliated and embarrassed by it. But let's not go into it right now. Let's get on with it. Thinking has become a disease. I want to cry now, just saying that. Isn't it amazing? Yeah, it's feelings, isn't it? Oh my God. Maybe, I can feel myself relaxing just by acknowledging that feeling. This seems to be the key. Acknowledging that I feel stressed because I feel like I can't breathe. Yeah, gosh. Right. Thanks. Yeah, at the end of the last video I made where I cried, after I'd finished, I watched it back. I wished I'd said at the end, thanks for listening, because it's like my therapy. I can't believe this. I'm gaining so much from this, people. I never imagined that I'd be doing a form of therapy by reading this book, or putting out my stuff about spiritual stuff and how to live a good life and practical spiritual stuff, I call it. Because I don't like to call it spiritual because it puts so many people off. But it's how to fucking get on with your life and get what you want and do the things you want to do. You know, it's very practical, this spiritual stuff, but you need it to be able to do that. Well, not everyone does, because they can just get on because they got what they needed when they were growing up, so they're not afraid of life, and then, you know, so they don't need the spiritual stuff. But some people who don't need the spiritual stuff will still go into it. It's just, you know, not everyone needs it, I think. I keep getting distracted. I could talk so long about that. But thinking has become a disease. Disease happens when things get out of balance. For example, there's nothing wrong with cells dividing and multiplying in the body, but when this process continues in disregard of the total organism, cells proliferate and we have disease. Note, the mind is a superb instrument if used rightly. Used wrongly, however, it becomes very destructive. To put it more accurately, it is not so much that you use your mind wrongly. You usually don't use it at all. It uses you. This is the disease. You believe that you are the mind, and this is the delusion. The instrument has taken you over, da, 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 which reminds me of the Matrix or the Men in Black and stuff. Well, how long have we been doing? 12 minutes. I should really stop, but I want to do a bit more. I don't quite agree. This is a questioner again. The one who asked, what is the greatest obstacle to experiencing this reality? That was Eckhart's answer. And the questioner says, I don't quite agree. It's true that I do a lot of aimless thinking, like most people, but I can still choose to use my mind to get things done, presumably, and accomplish things. And I do that all the time. Eckhart says, just because you can solve a crossword puzzle or build an atom bomb doesn't mean that you use your mind. Just as dogs love to chew bones, the mind loves to get its teeth into problems. That's why it does crossword puzzles and builds atom bombs. You have no interest in either. So you, in italics, have no interest in either. Let me ask you this. Can you be free of your mind whenever you want to? Have you found the off button? Fucking brilliant question. It's like 99% of people will say no, unless you're into meditation and controlling your mind. You've studied that, you know. Very few people. So the questioner says, you mean stop thinking altogether? No, I can't, except maybe for a moment or two. Eckhart says, then the mind is using you. You are unconsciously identified with it. So this is the meat of the matter, you know, the important points. That you're consciously identified with your mind. So you don't even know that you are a slave. It's almost as if you were possessed without knowing it. And so you take the possessing entity to be yourself. The beginning of freedom is the realization that you are not the possessing entity, the thinker. Knowing this enables you to observe the entity. The moment that you start watching the thinker, a higher level of consciousness becomes activated. You then begin to realize that there is a vast realm of intelligence beyond that. That is only a tiny aspect of that intelligence. I'm not reading this very well. You also realize that all the things that truly matter, beauty, love, creativity, joy, inner peace, arise from beyond the mind. You begin to awaken. Da, da, da. Right. So I think that's enough for today. Because then the next question is, what exactly do you mean by watching the thinker? And, you know, I put that in my list that I did in my first video of the things I use to get myself in the present moment, which I didn't use this morning, as you can tell. Very ungrounded. After talking about the therapy stuff, after I allowed the feelings to come up and I was suddenly more relaxed inside my body, I wanted to talk about a load of different things, and then I stopped myself from doing it, and so my mind was like, do I do that? Do I do it? Do I go back to the book and saying to myself, I keep saying the same things over again. Let's get back to it. All the phrases that I keep saying and dun 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 and stuff. Like my mind started just going crazy again, and so I was back to not being able to breathe again. I don't know if you noticed that, but yeah, this has really helped me again. Thanks for listening, people. I guess I'll make that. I want to do more. I don't want to stop it. That just doesn't seem like enough. But in 15 minutes, you only meant to do 10, and I think you can't even upload them if they're more than 20 or something. I don't understand, because other people can do that. I haven't sorted out the editing software yet. I've got as far as downloading something onto my computer, but not actually using it. Got some work in, so I need to do that to earn money. So I hope you. I feel like I should be summarising what I've just learned, because that guy Jim Kwik says if you tell other people about what you read in a book, then you will remember it, kind of thing. But he talks about speed. I don't know how to remember things. Yeah, he's the expert on remembering, isn't he? You're not going to speed read then, are you? If you read a book and then tell other people about it. I was thinking it's speed reading. I'm really scattered today. Just nervous. But looking stupid and stuff as well. Identifying with the mind. You are not your mind. You're the spiritual kind of being behind that, your soul or whatever. And we're all connected to this vast universe kind of thing and information. And if you just relax and you know that you're connected to this vast amount of information, it can come through to you and solve all your problems kind of all at once, just like that. But it's a growth path, of realizing you're powerful. That's one thing I want to get across, is realizing you're powerful, very, very powerful entity, because we have access to all this stuff. This information, all that, we're all connected anyway. It's like time and space are an illusion. So that became relevant. Because I've started making these videos. I spend a lot of time bloody talking to myself, going about my day. And I wish I could capture it all, actually, because a lot of it's really good, just chop it down and use it for this. But I need a handheld sort of camera thing stuck to my face, stuck to my shoulder all the time. That'd be a bit weird, wouldn't it? Cyborg universe. We'll go around with these cameras stuck on. Yeah, it'd be useful though, because I get loads of ideas as I'm walking along as well, especially now I'm making YouTube videos. I used to get ideas about stuff before, and occasionally I'd stop and write them down on the street, wherever. I always carry paper and pen, but now I'm making these videos. There's so many things I want to talk about. It's like constant. There's just tons and tons of information I want to put on here. So, and I was thinking a dictating machine would be brilliant. I could just talk into it, just blurt it out, But then when I get back, I'm going to have to bloody type it all up. Because I already do that, tons of that. So I get tons of insights all the time. Because I spend time on working on myself in the mornings and stuff. And I feel I have to type all that up, because I'm a writer kind of thing. And now a video maker, apparently. Right, that's one of my problems. Which I need to relax about and download how I can do it all, sort of thing. Maybe this camera strapped to my shoulder is the answer. Okay, I think I better leave it there, coming up to 20 minutes. And I must remember to use the trackpad to turn off the video and not try and press the screen like before. So have a good day, peeps. Laugh at yourself and life, and don't take things too seriously, and enjoy. Go for what you want, yeah?